To gather around. There's still a few seats available. Of course, everybody's gathered into the shade. Very smart. There's some more shade over here. Okay. So welcome to the grand opening ribbon cutting of the Veranda. My name is Greg Kepferly. I'm the CEO of Catholic Charities of Santa Clara County, and in that role, I am also president of the board of Charities Housing Development Corporation, the Housing Development Corporation of Catholic Charities. So we're really excited to welcome you all here today. And before we get into our event and our speechifying, I do want to make sure that we acknowledge our public officials out in the audience. I'll be acknowledging the officials speaking later, but public officials and county and city folks that are here, as well as others. So just recognizing from the City of Cupertino Planning Commission, we have, and we'll hold your applause to the end because there's a lot of names here. So we have from Planning Commission from the City of Cupertino, Sue Bose, David Fung, Kitty Moore, Connie Cunningham, and Ray Wong. From the assessor, I don't know, I don't see Larry Stone here, so we won't do the boo, right? So he's not here. From the Office of Supportive Housing, the Director, Key Lee, and from the Housing Trust Silicon Valley, Chief Executive Director, Kevin Zwick. Palo Alto City Council Member, Allison Cormick is not here. Former mayor of the City of Cupertino, Sandy James, and former council member, City of Cupertino, Dolly Sandoval. We also have Cupertino Council Member Ron Sinks, former Cupertino Mayor Savita Vaidyanathan. Did I say it right? Close. Vaidyanathan. Okay. And from Cupertino Council Member Darcy Paul, San Jose Council Member Johnny Camus, Housing Authority Director Catherine Harritz, Alameda Housing Authority Director Vanessa Cooper, the former mayor of the City of Cupertino, Orrin Mahoney, and I think I also saw Otto Lee here somewhere. There's Otto, yes. Okay, very good. And if I missed anybody, if you could stand up and wave and introduce yourself as a public official, if I missed you. Anybody I missed? Okay, thank you all very much. And now you can give them a round of applause. All of our supporters here. So we'll have a few speakers to say what the importance of the Veranda means to the county and to the City of Cupertino, and most of all to the seniors and those of our neighbors who were previously unhoused. And to get us started, I would like to invite the president of the County of Santa Clara Board of Supervisors, Supervisor Joe Simidian. Joe.
Thank you. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Supervisor Chavez is sitting to my left thinking, really, that's the best they can do in District 5? Good morning.
Good morning.
There we go. This is really a celebratory event. It is an opportunity to give ourselves a little bit of a pat on the back, understanding that as much as this is the first of the Measure A projects, and we're going to hear more from my colleague Supervisor Chavez about that in a minute, that we have so much more work to do. But let me just share with you, among the many reasons I am pleased to be here, is that my family's first home was purchased back in the day when a school teacher's family could afford to buy a home, not too far from here on Blaney Avenue in Cupertino. My first lemonade stand, my opportunity to develop my entrepreneurial skills, was right there on Blaney. And as the orchards went down and the new houses went up, I discovered that a little bit of lemon juice, a little bit of sugar, and a lot of cold water could be sold for a very high markup if you were the only stand in town. And little could I have imagined all those years ago that I would be standing here with you today on this really very happy occasion. There are more people here today than there were at the groundbreaking many months ago. And that's because there are always more people when it's time to celebrate, and that's a good thing, that's okay. But I'm looking around at all of the people who really do deserve a pat on the back and a thank you for making this happen. First and foremost, though, and again I'm going to turn to my colleague Supervisor Chavez in a minute and ask her to speak to this. First and foremost, though, I want to say thank you to every single person in Santa Clara County who cast a vote for Measure A back in the year 2016. Because it wasn't the 5 members of the Board of Supervisors who were able to roll up their sleeves and get that done. That was something that the entire community had to step up and embrace. Today, this should be a reminder, as I said, that we have not only stepped up in this particular instance, we've done it before. Sandy, I'm thinking of Vista Village just down the street 20 years ago, next to the fire station that we worked together on. I'm thinking of all of the projects that are yet to come, both with Measure A support and independent of that effort. But I am really thinking about the way in which this physical structure behind me is the manifestation, or as Governor Brown used to say, the tangibilitization of our community values. We talk a lot in this county, and we should, particularly at this difficult time in our country, about the importance of respecting, valuing diversity in the community, about a culture of inclusivity. All of that is only real if people have a place to call home, if they have a roof over their heads. Otherwise, it's just well-intentioned talk. So as we celebrate today, and as the men and women who call this place home in the weeks and months and years ahead go about their daily business, I hope when you drive by or visit a friend, you will say to yourself, it's more than just a building. It is the physical manifestation of the good values that the people in this community and this county hold dear. If we think of it in that way, we will be inspired to do even more. We will remember always that the seniors who live here represent the accumulated work and wisdom of their generation, which has been contributed to this community over the years. And we will know that their work and wisdom deserves the honor and the recognition of a place to call home. Thank you very much. It's a joy to be here today. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe. And following Joe, we have the Vice President of the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors, Cindy Chavez. Hey, Cindy.
So today is a very, very exciting day, and I wanted to start also by saying to everybody who worked on the campaign for Measure A, can you raise your hand? Because so often, thank you, let's give them a round of applause, because so often we work on these and you don't always see the fruits of your labor. You get to see the fruits of your labor. Second, I wanted to ask every elected official who voted on this project, if you're here, could you stand up or raise your hand if you had a chance to vote on this project? So the reason I wanted to thank them specifically is that these can be very difficult votes. And what we're really trying to do is make sure that we're bringing the community along with us, and that's not always the case. For every elected official here who's voted to move these kinds of projects forward and laid the groundwork in Cupertino for this vote to happen, could you also stand? And I'm looking at you guys, and I see Orrin was out here. And here's the reason I wanted to acknowledge that. We need to keep helping our elected officials be brave. We should not have projects that are 20 years apart or 30 years apart. We should be having them maybe a few months apart if I had my way, but at least more frequently. So I really do want to thank the leadership in Cupertino. Let's give them a big round of applause and tell them we'll be looking for more. Now, just a couple more things. One is, this is such a beautiful project. It is so beautiful and so respectful to the people who live in it. If you are driving up this street, you are not going to know if you're looking at luxury condos or affordable housing. And that is just to the credit of Charities. Let's give them a big round of applause for respecting the people in our community enough to build the kind of beautiful elegance that will house human beings, our neighbors, and already are behind us. The last thing I wanted to say is this. I am really grateful to our partners. Like, these are really, really hard projects, and I know that Charities Housing will talk more about this, but there are so many people who touch this project. If you touch this project, can you raise your hand or stand? You voted for it, you helped put it together, you were part of the finance team. Look, it really does take a village to raise these beautiful housing developments, and I just want to say a very big thank you to you. And the reason I want to thank you is because my expectation is we're going to build many, many more, and we're going to do it faster and faster. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Thank you for letting me join you today.
Thank you, Supervisor Chavez. Yes, we can. Build more and build faster. And now it's my honor to introduce the mayor of the city of Cupertino. Cupertino invested dollars into this project that made it really a beautiful development. So Mayor Stephen Sharp.
Okay, I have about a 45-minute speech here. So first, I want to disagree with Supervisor Chavez. This was not a difficult decision. I don't believe anyone in our community ever spoke against this project. So that we can do this kind of thing. It's, sometimes Cupertino gets attacked in the press, but we don't have opposition to projects like this. No one spoke against it. I was not on council when it was originally approved, but I did vote to expand it from 11 units to 19 units by eliminating the proposed retail on the bottom floor. And the rest of the council went along with that. I think we have plenty of retail along Stevens Creek Boulevard, and the housing was much more important than having additional stores underneath. So I would also point out that of Cupertino's RENA requirement and our entitlements of 1,400 units, these 19 units are the only units that have been built in this cycle. So we really need to buckle down and encourage the private developers for the other projects to use their entitlements, all of which have an affordable housing element, so we can get that housing built. We can't force a developer to use their entitlement. We need to encourage them to do so we can get that affordable housing. And a lot of our units of BMR expire eventually. So we need a continuous supply of BMR units to replace the ones that are converted to market rate housing. So I'd like to thank Catholic Charities again, because this is just such a wonderful project. And it's amazing that it was only 13 months ago that we were here for the groundbreaking. I mean, to build this in only 13 months and have it fully occupied is truly amazing. So thank you to everybody. And especially to the city council members, current and former, that voted for this project. I also want to point out that Dolly Sandoval was also mayor, not just council person. That was something that was missed. And also thank former Mayor Savita Vayanathan for her support of this project. So thank you for all coming today.
Thank you, Mayor Sharp. Thank you, Mayor Sharp. And now it's my honor to introduce the Chief Operating Officer for the County of Santa Clara, Miguel Marquez. Miguel.
Thank you, Greg, and good morning. My name is Miguel Marquez, and I have the privilege of serving as the County of Santa Clara's Chief Operating Officer. I'm so proud to be part of a diverse, a dynamic, a multicultural, a caring, and a compassionate community. And I'm equally proud to be a part of the county organization that serves this community as a safety net, providing essential programs and services that makes this community of nearly 2 million people a very special and a very compassionate place to live. Supportive housing projects, like the Veranda, is one of our most essential programs that we provide. This housing project will provide our vulnerable residents with access to a safe and a stable housing environment. As a county, we are so fortunate to have a robust Office of Supportive Housing with the staff of dedicated public servants. I want to take just one moment and recognize one person in particular, Consuelo Hernandez, who happens to be here today with her parents who are visiting. Y le voy a dar, they don't speak English, so le voy a dar la bienvenida a ustedes aquí a el condado de Santa Clara para que bienvenida al condado de Santa Clara. Ahora pueden ver por qué su hija está trabajando tan duro, pero mira lo que se puede ver todo el progreso que estamos haciendo. El presidente de la mesa directiva del condado dice que gracias por todo que han hecho y a ustedes, gracias. But it's not just people like Consuelo, it's our case managers, our community workers who are on the streets every day offering a full continuum of services to assist our most vulnerable residents. I'd like to take a moment, if you'll join me, to acknowledge and to thank our frontline employees for the tremendously difficult work they do every day. Let's give them a big round of applause. You know, they often share with us the daily challenges that their clients face. Some clients have been homeless for so long, they've actually forgotten what it's like to open a door or to lock their door. These are things we all take for granted. But the County of Santa Clara and the Office of Supportive Housing, along with cities, the Housing Authority, our community partners, Destination Home, the private sector, and so many others, we're working tirelessly to address the housing crisis. We work so hard because we know that housing and supportive services will provide the stability needed to help these residents overcome the challenges they face so they can realize their full potential. That's an important value to us at the County of Santa Clara. And it's not just the county as an organization. In 2016, our voters showed their support for developing affordable housing for residents by approving the $950 million Measure A housing bond. We funded 19 projects so far, and there are many more on the way. In the end, the housing bond will fund about 120 new developments, and that'll add at least 4,800 units to the stock. The funding from Measure A and funding from a variety of partners, and that includes the state and the federal governments, will actually create billions of dollars in desperately needed affordable and supportive housing opportunities for extremely low income, for low income, and even for moderate income individuals. That includes veterans, seniors, foster youth, survivors of domestic abuse, and people who are disabled or chronically homeless. You know, not too long ago, at the beginning of 2018, our board president, Supervisor Joe Simidian, who you heard from just a little bit ago, talked about his vision for the county of partnership and progress. As I look out into the audience and see all of our partners who worked so hard to make this project come to fruition so quickly, and then I look behind and I see the progress that we've actually made, I feel so incredibly privileged to be standing right here in this moment at the crossroads of partnership and progress. It's amazing what we can accomplish when we work together to solve big problems, when we have leaders with vision and partners that have a can-do attitude. It's truly something to celebrate. So once again, congratulations to all who made this project a reality. I look forward to many more celebrations like this one in this city and in cities across the county. And that, I tell you, will happen, as was said earlier, in the very near future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miguel. It's now my honor to introduce the Vice President at Wells Fargo Bank, Lori Sato.
Thank you so much. On behalf of Wells Fargo, I'm honored to be here today working with Charities Housing. I think Dan and Kathy and I probably been working together for about 20 years now, close to that. I've been fortunate enough, I had a friend of mine when I worked at Wells Fargo, and I've been at Wells for 36 years. 25 years ago, somebody walked up to me at Wells Fargo and said, I've got something for you. It's called affordable housing. Granted, I grew up not very far from here. I was born and raised in the South Bay, and I had no idea what that meant, right? Had no idea. Did not know my parents actually bought our house on a GI Bill, my dad being a veteran. I've had the privilege ever since then to work in our community here in the South Bay, work with all of those, work with many of you here on how to develop and build and bring more affordable housing into our communities. I'm so honored that Kathy and Dan have put their trust in Wells Fargo and their trust in me. It's not just me, it's a team of people. We provided about $4.7 million construction loan. On the flip side, we also are the equity investor in this, providing another $5.6 million on our equity team. There's not only myself, we have Susan Toyofuku and Jean Hembry and Tim McCann and Dan Pearl and Lisa Sepp and Pete Kobach. There's a huge cast of characters that all get into this and all work on this together. So what I love is going here and the groundbreaking. We were all here for the groundbreaking. We got to turn the dirt and see this. And then you get to come back and you get to see what's being built. You get to see how you're going to affect a resident's life who's here. That's what we're all trying to do. We're all trying to make it a little bit better for the residents who are here today and who are living within our community. And again, I'm just so honored on behalf of Wells Fargo to be here and be part of this and be chosen as a partner for this. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Lori, and thank you to Wells Fargo for your investment in our community. So I'm going to do a few more thank yous while we're waiting for Bishop Cantu, and he is here. Okay, Bishop Cantu, come on up. The Bishop Cantu is the Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of San Jose, and he's also the Chairman of the Board of Catholic Charities.
Call on the bishop and he will appear. Hopefully not with someone else. Thank you, Greg. Thank you to Charities Housing for the great work. And my apologies for coming in a bit late. I was celebrating a Mass with our Catholic school teachers from throughout the county. And my message to them this morning, particularly in the wake of tragedies in Gilroy and El Paso and Dayton, is something that I hope that becomes a theme throughout the year, that we belong one to another, that we cannot treat others as the other, that we are responsible for each other, that we are our brothers and sisters' keeper, and whoever is in need is our neighbor. That holds for young people developing their sense of identity, their sense of community, their sense of belonging, and it pertains to our elderly who deserve our respect and the dignity that they are due. Thank you to the many, many people who have partnered to make this a reality. I would simply ask that we bow our heads for a moment to ask God's blessings upon the residents and upon this project. Loving and gracious God, in the Hebrew Scriptures, you remind us that God dwelt with his people, that he walked with them through the desert and into the promised land, and resided in their midst. In the Christian Scriptures, we are reminded that Jesus entered humanity through a family, and so blessed the home and all the activities therein. We ask your blessings upon this project, upon all of those who will dwell in these homes. May the walls around them, the roof above them, be signs of love, of respect, of dignity that is afforded them. And we ask all of this in your sacred name. Amen. God bless you.
Thanks, Bishop. Thank you, Bishop. The people who live here are a blessing to all of us, because through them, we in turn find a way to find our common humanity. As Bishop said, we are our brothers and sisters' keepers. And we need more more housing, more care for one another. So see this as just the beginning of all of those commitments for Measure A. And with Measure A, I want to thank also the Measure A Oversight Committee. So we have here Larry Stone and Tracy Edwards. So thank you. Also, thank you. There are a few other, yes, we have to say boo to Larry, thank you. And a few other thank yous here before we move to the ribbon cutting. Want to acknowledge especially our architect and general contractor, Studio E Architects, John Sheehan Architect, Kristen Blakeman, Project Manager. Beautiful, beautiful building. And Barry Swenson Builders, Eric Grimley, Project Manager. Lovely construction. Also want to thank all of the organizers of today's event from the County of Santa Clara and from Catholic Charities and from Charities Housing. All of the County of Santa Clara staff who helped, Charities Housing staff and Catholic Charities staff. You can all wave your hand, wave your hand. Thank you all. I also want to thank especially the board members of Charities Housing and of Catholic Charities. So if you're on the board of Charities Housing and Catholic Charities, if you wave your hand, thank you very much. So before we move to the ribbon cutting, we want to invite the camera folks to move over. The ribbon cutting is going to be at the front of the building. So if the camera folks need to move there first, and then we'll follow and gather around. Please don't go into the street. We want to stay safe. But please gather around for the ribbon cutting, and then we will have